Ciao. Um, when we were asked to do this video assignment and keep a journal throughout our entire time in Florence and while we were had been abroad, at first I was a little bit like I've never really been one to like chronicle things in a journal, and I've never been one to collect or scrapbook. But to be honest, I have a lot of fun doing this, and I think that it's really gonna help me, especially like when I'm talking about it to friends and family back home, and when I'm trying to really articulate all of the incredible things that I've seen and done here in Italy. Um, that I think it's really gonna help. And so, one of the things I did for my journal is I, wrote bi-weekly, or I'm sorry, not bi-weekly, every couple days, like usually twice a week, entries about what I did in the days prior, my feelings, how I was feeling, whether it was homesick or not, or different things that was kind of affecting my mental state, and then also chronicling the things we did. So, different trips and things of that sort, and just everywhere we went. So my journal is, pretty basic. It's just entries, um, just writing entries and things of that sort. But what I do have along with it is a lot of mementos from my trip. For example, the first weekend we were here, I took my first ever bus to Alps trip and went to the Amalfi Coast. And I did that with Colin and Austin and Sammy and Jacqueline, and some other people and some of their roommates. And that was an incredible trip, especially as my first like bus to Alps trip, first time staying in a hostel. And coming from just where I come from, my family, I've never stayed in a hostel before, and doing that was an incredible experience all in itself. And then experiencing Amalfi and experiencing Sorrento, Palermo, sorry, Positano, Capri was one of the most beautiful sights I've ever seen in my life. Even though I was incredibly seasick on the way to Capri, I was so close to throwing up. It was not even funny. Um, but besides that, it was a great trip. Um, and obviously, as time has gone on, we've gone to different museums. I have museum tickets from the Uffizi, from the Bargello, um, from from the Pitti Palace, the Modern Art Gallery, and the Boboli Garden as well. Um, I mean, just seeing some of the most insane museums. But I have to say, my favorite thing, in going through art history was definitely seeing all the churches and things of that sort. Just because I grew up, Catholic Christian my entire life, and so seeing some of these incredibly beautiful and old churches where I really felt closer to God. And honestly, I can't wait to go tell my grandmother, who's a very devout Catholic, about all my experiences and show her all the photos I've taken. One cool thing that I did at every church that we went to is I sat down for at the very least 5 minutes in every single church, and I prayed just by myself, just really just thank God for the opportunity to be here. I really thanked him, for keeping me safe and watching over me, and I asked him, to just continue watching over my family as I was gone. But yeah, I mean, I think that was huge for me. That was really huge for me to do. Um, and then also seeing all the incredible architecture of these churches and all these buildings and all this art. One thing I definitely learned about myself when it comes to classical art and Renaissance art is I either like things that are incredibly grandiose and either if it's painting incredibly dark and powerful, ominous, possibly the word for it. If it's sculpture, I like something that's incredibly just like breathtaking and big. Like my favorite art piece in this entire trip was the Hercules that we saw at the Naples Museum. Call it whatever it is, me being into fitness or working out or whatever, but seeing just the overwhelming muscularity of Hercules was one of the coolest things. And seeing how lifelike it was, but just how huge and just how dominant the representation of Hercules was. I thought that was one of the coolest things, and I really couldn't take my eyes off of it. On the other side, talking about Italian, as I told Kiara this earlier, but in 6 weeks of being here, I feel like I've learned more of the Italian language than I did taking 12 years of Spanish all throughout elementary, middle, and high school. I really, really want to find the opportunity, the time in my schedule before I graduate to possibly minor in Italian, because I just feel like I've been so far on this road that I definitely want to continue with it. But class has been so fun. Like I've never had so much fun speaking a different language and trying to converse in different languages or in a different language. And I eventually got to a point, like comfort wise, where like, especially when we were talking in groups, I wouldn't just answer like yes or no to the questions. I would try to like say yes or no and then like why and kind of explain it like I would like if I was actually talking in English. Like, oh, why did you do this when you were a kid? Oh, I did this in a kid because I did this when I was a kid because my mom, wanted me to do this, but I wanted to do this, and so just being able to converse, I think it's one of the coolest things. Um, Going back to culture and some of the other things I did outside of this, or outside of class, that is. I mean, the entire time I've been here, I had a Florence Fitness gym membership, so that's been a lifesaver. I mean, even though it's been kind of hard, especially on the weekends, because I was gone every weekend. Um, but fitness is something that's huge for me. So having this was very nice, because I love working out. So I have a business card from YAB, one of the clubs around here, and I'm not a huge going out person back in the States, but it was a lot of fun to experience the nightlife here, and especially with such a great group of people to experience it with, all my roommates and especially all the other girls that were on our trip. To be honest, I mean, it was incredible to me to find a group of people so fun and accepting so quick, and we just found our niche really fast. I mean, obviously I knew Quinny being since we were little kids, but like being able to become such good friends with Sammy and Jacqueline and Taylor and Emily and Sydney, and some of the other girls in our class, Victoria, Izzy, like I love them, and being able to go out and have a good time with them was some of the greatest memories that I have here. Um, you know, train tickets, a train ticket to Via Reggio, um, little beach town. That was a nice little getaway. We kind of had like a boys' weekend, me, Austin, and Quinny, and that was fun. And then train tickets to Cinque Terre. We stayed in Monte Rosso, but also visited Vernazza and Real Maggiore, and Manarola. See, in this past weekend, one of the coolest things I thought I got to do was I actually went to Croatia on another Bust Alps trip. It was my first time out of the country of Italy, and I thought that was amazing. Some of the best food I ever had, Beppa. was this restaurant in Croatia. It was some of the best food I've ever had in my life. But with all these experiences and with all these times, all these memories I've made, there's a couple things that have been put into perspective. I feel like, especially with talking with a lot of people, some people go on study abroad trips because they're dealing with things in their lives back home that they want to get away from, or that they want to clear their head about things or try to find themselves. For me, it was a little bit different. I was so like iffy about going on this trip when Colin first brought it up to me. I was just like, because I just had so much fear of missing out on things back at home. But the reality is that this experience is something that other people are missing out on, and that I'll cherish for the rest of my life. And I know that now, in to the umpteenth degree. And then lastly, I am very, I know who I am as a person, and I think it was great to be able to come here, kind of put things on pause for a little bit, and expand my latitude, my knowledge about things, and really about the world, and kind of open my eyes a little bit. Because I'm always a person that's like go go go, goal oriented, very ambitious. Like okay, let's keep attacking this. Let's go to the next level. Let's keep it going. This past semester really burned me out. I had took on a lot of things, and by the end of it, I was just kind of like. So, by being able to come here, it was a nice pause, and a reset. But I'm very happy that I got the chance to do this. I'll never forget it. But I'm definitely looking forward to getting back home and getting back to attacking things like I normally am. Kiara, Nancy, Amanda, I want to thank you guys so much for an incredible trip. It was the time of my life, and I learned so many things that I otherwise wouldn't have. I appreciate all the work that you guys put into this. So thank you from the very bottom of my heart. This is Taylor Mormon signing off.